I've grown so much over the past 13 years of being a teacher and a tutor, and during that time of growth, I've realized the mistakes that I've made when teaching children how to read, and I've since found more effective ways of teaching our learners. So in this video, I'm going to talk all about the mistakes that one would make when teaching a learner how to read and what you can do differently instead. Now, this video isn't to discourage you, it's to empower you. I have personally made these mistakes, and so hopefully if you have yet to start teaching your child how to read, then you can bypass those mistakes and start fresh. And even if you've made the mistakes yourself, that's okay. Our children are resilient, you are resilient, and it's deciding to make that change the next day that will make a huge difference in their learning. If you are new here, hi, my name is April. I'm a teacher and a tutor, and this channel is all about sharing my expertise and experience in teaching young learners. The first mistake is not taking into account whether your learner is interested in reading, and instead just trying to force teaching them how to learn their letters, learn their sounds when they're not interested at all. I feel like society these days has been pushing kids to read at an earlier age. When I was growing up, I wasn't really reading I wasn't really introduced into reading until I was maybe 6, and now I feel like there's programs out there that are saying that we can get our kids reading at the age of 2. And I get the push, we want the best for our children, but at the same time, reading is a developmental skill, and there are countries, they don't start teaching children how to read until 6 years old. This article, for example, talks about how Finland starts teaching their kids at 7 years old, and they surpass US in math, reading, and science. And we're pushing here at 3. When they're interested in reading, then that's when they really fly. Reflect on the clues that your child is giving you. Are they showing clues that they want to learn to read? For example, my son, he was showing signs that he was interested in reading. He was pointing to certain letters and asking what the sound was for that, what's that word? And I was like, all right, let's get started, and slowly introducing the sounds and the letter names. That's him. I have a daughter who is the complete opposite personality-wise. She's 2 right now, but who knows if she is going to be interested in reading right away. She might not be interested in reading until she's around 5 or 6, and that's okay. Once your child is interested in reading and fallen in love with reading, that's awesome. Start with some activities and teaching them letter sounds and letter names. I have some awesome videos that hopefully will be helpful for you that give tips in that. And if they're not interested right now, that's okay. Don't start until they are showing interest. And instead you can work on pre-reading skills, or you can work on fine motor skills, gross motor skills involving social interactions, or just daily habits of getting dressed. I mean, there's so many things that children at the young age of 3 and 4 could get into aside from reading that are just as important. The next mistake that I want to mention is teaching sight words before teaching how to blend sounds. Just jumping in here to clarify, when I say teaching sight words, I mean memorizing sight words. Their child how to read, they teach them the letter sounds, they teach them the letter names, and then what? There's that gap of like, okay, where do I go and take that next step? And there's usually 2 roads that divide. There's either teaching them sight words or teaching them how to blend those sounds that they've learned. And I like to think of that saying, if you give, I'm going to totally butcher this, but if you give a man a fish, they'll eat for a day, and if you teach them how to fish, they will eat their lifetime, right? Teaching them sight words before teaching them how to blend is like just giving them the fish. It's not really teaching them the phonics rules and phonics patterns that they need in order to read all the words they need in a book. So if you go in the route of teaching them how to blend, then they'll start to realize, okay, reading has a ton of patterns. And if I can get used to those patterns, then I can apply those patterns to unknown words. And that's what we want to do, is we want them to feel empowered in these skills to be able to read words that they are unfamiliar with. And yes, there are some words that completely go against the phonics and spelling rules. There's a lot less irregular than we think, by the way.
For example, this poster shows 300 sight words that are sorted out phonetically. So a lot of these sight words can in fact be taught using blending.
I know it's a lot easier to teach them the sight words before blending. Blending is a challenging skill in itself, and it's a developmental skill. Some kids will get it right away. Some will take a long time acquiring that skill, but it is so worth it. The next mistake that I want to mention is not teaching the letter sounds properly. And I've mentioned this in a couple of other videos. When teaching letter sounds, we want to make sure that we don't add a random sound at the end of a letter sound. So for example, a lot of times I hear, and I do this too, I do this too, when we're teaching our child the letter sound for B, we say B instead of B. That's called adding the schwa sound at the end, and we want to make sure that we pronounce those letter sounds properly, because when they are reading, when they are isolating each sound and they blend it, we don't want them to say k, at, cat. We want them to say at, cat. If we teach the letter sounds properly, they're more apt to blend the sound properly and thus identifying the word that they are reading. So if you need any tips or ideas on how to teach letter sounds, check out that video that I have. I'll post it down below too. Our next mistake that we're going to talk about is the lack of phonemic awareness. And I talk about this a lot in my videos, how phonemic awareness is very often overlooked, but it should really be the number one, the very first skill that learners should be acquiring is phonemic awareness. It's the number one predictor of reading success. Students that struggle with reading lack this skill. It's an auditory skill. It's being able to isolate and identify each sound in a word without even having the actual looking at the actual letters. So for example, one activity could be isolating each sound, like I said. So I would go to my son and I would say, all right, let's clap out or say the sounds you hear in cat. I don't have anything on me. I'm not showing the word cat. I could be showing a picture of a cat, but not at all the word. And we would clap or tap each sound out. K, at. Him being able to isolate each sound. Or it could be the opposite, where I say the word slowly or isolated and he has to blend the sounds together. What word am I thinking of when I say k, at, cat? And there he's learning how to blend those isolated sounds together. If you're not too familiar about phonemic awareness, look into it. Like I said, I have a couple of videos on it. Picking out the wrong books for your learners to use when learning how to read. The other day, I picked up this book for my son because he's obsessed with Paw Patrol. And it says, step into reading, and it's got this guideline here. Oh, it's not zoom. Okay. It's got this guideline here of where exactly, level 2 is, for example, in this book. It says reading with help is level 2. Preschool through first grade. And I looked at the words in here. There's a lot of irregular words here or phonics patterns that he's not even close to knowing yet. Picking out books, we want to meet the learners where they're at. And so when I pick out a book for my child, I go 2 routes. And he's just starting to learn how to blend words. So if it's a book that interests him, is the first thing. Does the book interest him? Because if it doesn't, then there's no point of reading it at all. Second, is it a book that he could read independently with maybe just a little bit of help? Or is it a book that is better read out loud and we can practice comprehension instead? And obviously build his love for reading. And so this type of book would definitely fall in the realm of a really good read aloud and build comprehension skills by, recalling characters, talking about the plot line, all those things, giving a summary, and just developing his love for reading. Now, if I wanted to find a book that he could read independently, I have to think about where he is at. So he knows how to blend sounds together to read, words, and that's it. So I have to find books that maybe have one or two decodable, like being able to sound out each sound, those kind of words in a book. That's it. Decodable books are the best way to get your child to start reading. So Bob Books are a great example, and they set out kind of an overview right here of the different sounds that this book has, and then it gives some sight words. The last mistake that I want to talk about today is the lack of review with consistency. For example, you're teaching your learner letter sounds, and maybe you're going through a letter a week. And then later on, when you're teaching them how to blend, you're realizing that they don't remember any of the sounds they don't remember some of the sounds from the previous weeks that you've taught. And part of that is because learners need that time to review and go over the skills that they've learned before moving forward. So what I did with my son personally is we got into Jolly Phonics. It teaches the letter sound with a song and emotion. And there's a ton of YouTube videos that we use that just go through all of the sounds. And we just did it every time we sat down to practice. And we did it all last year, and by this coming school year, he's learned all the letter sounds, all the letter names, and has started blending words. And so I feel like that consistency of doing it every time we sat down really helped. So make sure that you're reviewing those skills that your learner has learned in the past on a consistent basis. You can do that through songs. You can do that through, I know a lot of people do calendar time. That's a great time to review something really quick. And it shouldn't take that long. It should take, just a couple of minutes. It shouldn't take the whole lesson. That's it for this video, my friends. I hope that this has been helpful for you. Like I said, if you have made these mistakes that I have, that's okay. We are resilient. Our children are resilient. This video should be empowering you, not discouraging you. And make sure you check out the other videos that I mentioned that gets your child learning how to read. If you like this video, make sure you give us a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!